everyone, I'm Jahani Strong and I'm honored to serve as the student representative on the Flagler Schools Board from Matanzas High School for this school year.
And I'm Danny Nieves, and I'm honored to serve as a student representative on the Flagler Schools Board from Flagler Palm Coast High School. It's a privilege to be part of this important group and have a voice in decisions that impact our schools, our classmates, and our community.
We've quickly realized that joining the board means there's a lot to learn, from understanding policies to navigating the complex issues that shape our school system.
Absolutely. We are learning how to weigh the needs of everyone within our schools, all while understanding the impact those decisions have on the community.
But luckily, we're not alone in this journey. Today, we have the unique opportunity to speak with someone who has been at the heart of the board for 24 years, Flagler County's longest-standing school board member.
And before she steps down from serving 6 consecutive terms as a Flagler Schools Board member, we are proud to be able to learn from her and her years of experience. Dr. Colleen Conklin.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited about this. I don't know of another time where we've had an opportunity to really interview board members with our student board members, so I'm thrilled to have the discussion with you today.
Dr. Conklin, thank you so much for joining us. As 2 newcomers to the board, we'd love to get your perspective on what makes an effective school board member.
An effective school board member, I would say the most important thing is to listen to all sides, right? So as a representative, you represent everyone in the community, not just the people that voted for you, but the people that maybe didn't vote for you as well. And so listening is really critical, and trying to listen without being defensive, right? Because a lot of times the community, parents, students, teachers, faculty, whoever it might be, may come to you with a concern or a question, and the natural reaction is to get a little defensive. And that really doesn't solve a problem. So listening without judgment and reminding yourself that your purpose, your job, is to be that conduit between the community and the school district, and to bring those concerns forward, and then make sure that those concerns are addressed. Sometimes I'll follow back up with parents a week later. Hey, did the school reach out? Did you get your concern addressed? So I would say that that's really critical. The other is to share the story of the good stuff that's happening in the school district. There's a lot of national conversations around education, and people think that that's a reflection of what is happening in your own local schools. The reality is that's not always the case. Those may be the one-offs of the thousands of schools in the country, right? People are often shocked to find that we're an Apple Distinguished District, different things. And when they find that out, they're proud. Schools should make a community proud, right? And so our job is really to be that conduit. I mean, there's a whole lot of other things that go into it, right? You have to be a good advocate. You have to work with your state legislators. You have to look at policy. That's really the only thing that you can control is policy and policy development. You have to look at assessments and accountability and what systems are in place so that those things can happen. But you don't want to micromanage the district. That's not your job, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, that makes a lot of sense. What's one of the biggest challenges you faced when you first joined the board, and how did you overcome it?
I think the biggest challenge was learning how to count to 3. To be honest with you, right? Because I came from the classroom with all of these ideas and things that I wanted changed and things I wanted to have addressed immediately, right? So the first thing I learned was things move slowly. The second thing I learned was you may have a great idea, but if you don't have 2 other members to support that idea, that's not going anywhere, right? So the need to develop good teamwork, really to collaborate with your colleagues. I was kind of a little bit of a bull in the china shop when I first got on the board, but through great mentors, board members that were on the board, Dr. Jim Gines he's a legacy board member. He left his mark. We will never forget who Dr. Gines is. But he challenged me a lot as a new young board member, and we kind of went at it. Because I was young. I think I was on the board when I was 30, and I just had a baby, literally like 2 months before. And I thought I knew. You know, I came from the classroom. Let's move. Let's get this stuff done. Come on. And he was really great with, you know, slow your roll. And there's a process and there's a place. And in the beginning, we really butted heads, but he became a very dear, dear, dear friend of mine and a mentor. Because through pain, you grow. Through a challenge, you grow.
What do you think are the biggest issues we'll face this year, and how can we best approach them?
Teacher retention and teacher recruitment is a huge issue, not just for Flagler County, but across the state and across the country. You have less young people going into post-secondary education programs, right? Enrollment is at an all-time low. So who is going to teach our students? That is a major problem. And, you know, I don't know how teachers in the classroom do it today because it's such a critical environment, right? I really look at being an educator as a calling. I really, truly believe that, right? And those teachers that have it, just that gift, that speed, you know the teachers, some teachers have it, some teachers don't, but the ones that really do, we have become so critical of them that for what little pay they earn over their lifetime of their career, one, is shameful, but two, we don't even respect them the way we should, right? And I'm talking about society. So that, I think that issue, unfortunately, I think is going to get worse before it gets better, but I do think it's going to get better. The second is, you know, the privatization of education, right? It's going to, there's two ways to look at this. It's going to drive innovation, which is what the charter school movement was intended to do, and it drove a little bit of innovation, not as much as I think they thought. And now with basically any parent, it doesn't matter income level, it doesn't matter the quality of the school that you're currently attending, can punch a ticket and go to a private school. Well, private schools are starting to game the system. They're doubling their tuition, right? I had one private school administrator literally say to me when I asked, why are you doubling the tuition? It was to keep out the riffraff. Not okay with me, right? You're taking tax dollars. Those are your dollars, my dollars, your parents' dollars, right? And there's no accountability, very limited accountability for the dollars. And so I'm concerned about that. And then the other thing that I worry about, and I think I've always worried about this as a board member, is the mental health of our students. You know, I worry about you guys a lot. Just dealing with social media and the pressures. It's 24/7. There's never a break. And so I really worry, especially about our young women, about, you know, if I wish parents would wait to give their children a cell phone, a smartphone, right? Give them a flip phone. But wait until they're emotionally and mentally ready for that kind of avalanche, right? But sixth graders in even elementary school and middle school, you know, it just can be brutal. It can be absolutely, completely brutal. And it's a different form. You know, cyberbullying is a whole different ball of wax. And what you see is a lot of times students suffer in silence, right? Because they don't want their parents to know what's going on. They may have innocently shared a snap. Everybody thinks it's gone. It's not. It's never gone, right? And things are shared and that you would never want shared.
How do you suggest we, as student representatives, make sure our voices are heard among more experienced board members who have been elected to office?
So I will share this with you. From the time we've had student board members, each one has brought a unique voice. And many of them have tackled issues to really look at policy and how they can influence policy. Dress code was one. We had student board members that really helped revise our dress code policy to kind of lighten it up a little bit, right? And there were other board members, student board members that got involved with, public safety. I think our stoplight at Matanzas High School was initiated by one of our student board members, right? Because a student got hit on the way to school on their bicycle. So kind of going back to, as a new school board member, what's the thing to do? I would say listen. Listen to your student body. Ask questions. Survey them. Find out what's important to them. What do they want you to bring to the board? Not every school board has student representatives. So you're in a very unique situation. And the position you're sitting in is really all about how you are gonna make it your own, right? Is it you wanna find out what your students care about, that you can bring as an issue? Your updates are always great, right, at the end of the board meetings. But think about issues that you personally care about, that you wanna bring either attention to, or you want a policy. Look at the policies. Are there policies that you scratch your head about and say, why do we do it that way, right? Bring them forward. It's nerve-wracking. It can be seem like you're being bold, but trust me, out of the mouths of babes, I often say. Many times in the most heated conversations, our student board members are the ones that have grounded the adults at the dais. So don't ever underestimate your influence or the power of your voice, ever.
Thank you, Dr. Conklin. Before we wrap up, we just want to recognize your incredible 24 years of service. Your leadership has left a lasting impact on Flagler County, and we're grateful for everything you've done.
Absolutely. As you step down, know that your legacy will continue through the work of this board and the students you've inspired over the years.
That means the world to me. Thank you. Thank you.